Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have another pen here, and this is a pen that I have already added to my collection. As you can see here by the name, it's a Montegrappa. Now this pen does have a little bit of a story, and I will show you here. It is number 25 of 100. It is the Bartolomeo Ferracina in shiny circles. Now, if I remove the lid of this box, you will find inside it another box, and this is a wood box, and it has this substantial box. Now, if I lift the lid here and watch the camera, you see this pen, and this is the Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina. And the reason why this pen has a little bit of a story behind it is that this is a pen that Emmy owned or had on consignment from Montegrappa, and he had it for about a year, and he's been trying to convince me to add this to my collection because, strangely enough, I also have this pen, which is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. And you'll see here one has straight and one has circles on it. And Emmy visited me at the London Pen Show in March 2020, just around the time that Italy was going into lockdown for the coronavirus. And it was the last pen show, certainly in the UK and probably the world, and he tried to convince me to buy this pen, but he wanted to do a trade with a beautiful pen that I own, which is an Omas Arte Italiana Paragon Grande in the Arco Brown or Bronze. And it's a pen that I really do love in my collection, and I love how the nib writes, and it's just not a pen that I wanted to let go of. So I decided I would talk coins and try and talk to Emmy about buying this pen, and later on in May 2020 I decided to purchase this pen. So this is the Montegrappa, but let me remove the bed and I'll just show you what you get. So you get the Bartolomeo Ferracina book, and it's in a number of different languages, but you can see there are 3 different models here for this particular pen, and I have the middle one, which is the shiny circles. So the booklet here says that the pen collection decided to Bartolomeo Ferracina introduces a brand new silhouette for a Montegrappa writing instrument. It is appropriately voluminous and as imposing as the immense tribute to Ferracina, to the art of watchmaking and to the science of engineering. So Bartolomeo Ferracina was a watchmaker. So this pen exists in a total of 300 pens, 100 of each type of material, which is these materials. So the shiny circles in the grey has only 100, and this is number 25. Each pen is fitted with an 18 karat gold filigree etched nib, available in grades of fine, medium and broad. The nib's filigree decoration is also found on the cap's lower ring. And you also get a silver polishing cloth, and you also get a bottle of Montegrappa ink, and this is the purple ink that I have here, or the violet ink. And if I just bring the tray or the pen tray back in, and I will show you this pen. So if I close the box and zoom in a little bit more, you'll see this pen in all its glory. So this is the pen. It's the Bartolomeo Ferracina from Montegrappa, and there's a number of things I love about this pen. The first thing is the size. It is a massive pen, and if I show you what I mean by massive, the Montegrappa Extra 1930s is considered an oversized pen, and here you can see the size difference. So in terms of length, it's a lot longer, and it's also, in terms of the body, it's a lot more bulbous as well. The other thing that I like about this is it does have this bulbous sort of area here, which actually makes it very comfortable to fit it in your hand. The other thing is it comes with a clock fitted. Now this is a standard Miyota quartz clock, and so it is run by a battery, but that little black dot in here is a solar panel window, so you can actually see that this will recharge itself. The other thing that you can do as well is you can, if you want to, unscrew that clock face there and just have the pen without the clock or the watch if you wanted to. So for me, it's actually quite a nice looking pen. The big thing for me though is the stacked celluloid here. It's a Montegrappa, it's a shiny lines circle, and I just love this material. The material really pops, and I am a fan of stacked celluloid, and I really do love this. Look, just look at that lovely stacked celluloid there. Now this does have, and I will try and get it on camera here, 25 of 100 there, and this is a piston filling pen. If I zoom out a little bit, if I unscrew the cap, you will see it has a silver, solid silver section which will tarnish over time, but you can polish it again. And then it has this lovely filigree nib from Montegrappa there. And I do find these Montegrappa nibs write quite nicely. It's a medium nib, 18 karat gold nib, and you can see the ebonite feed or feeder there. Now, in terms of how it feels in my hand, like I said that this bulbous section might look a little bit uncomfortable, but it actually sits sort of before the crook of my hand here. So for me, this is actually a really comfortable pen. It's a long pen, but it's not back weighted here. So this is actually quite nice. You could, if you wanted to, post the cap, but then that becomes massively back weighted, and I wouldn't want to do that. Now it does have, and I'll see if I can get you to hear this, a lovely click piston, and these are what come with Montegrappas, and it's a ratchet piston, and I do find that they're actually nice to use. So this was a pen that I knew that at some point I needed to add to my collection, and sometimes you look at a pen and you think I need to add this to a wish list. Other times you think, well, okay, I need to probably just go ahead and buy it straight away. This was a wish list. I was very tempted at the London Pen Show in March 2020 to pick this up from Emmy and not have him walk away with this pen, but I let him walk away because I had bought a number of expensive pens, and I had reached what I felt was my limit. And sometimes you do have to walk away from a pen, and unfortunately Emmy still had the pen, he hadn't sold it, and I then decided to eventually buy this pen. So for me, I really do like this pen. I love the stacked celluloid. I do like that this fits in my collection of pens, although I'm not a collector, but I do have a collection of pens, a nice collection of pens as well. But I find that this sits in my collection along with the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove, but also some of my stacked Visconti celluloid as well. So for me, this really is a beautiful pen, and it's a pen that I like a lot, and I do love this stacked celluloid here. So for me, I really think that this is, for me, a good addition to my collection. So I'd like to thank Emmy for giving me a good deal on this pen, and it is, or does now have, another new home, and this will be staying with me for, I will think, probably quite some time to come. And it's a pen I just love. I really do like the stacked celluloid. I like the pen. I like the size, the weight. It's a heavy pen. It's not a light pen. So I think with that, let's do a size and weight check. We'll do a pen comparison, and then we'll do a writing sample. So the length of the pen is 155 millimeters. Yes, 155 millimeters in length. The length of the cap is 67 millimeters in length, which is quite a lengthy cap as well. And I will try and stop this rolling off here. And if I measure to the tip of the tines on the nib, we're looking at 135 millimeters in length. So the pen itself is actually quite a nice size, and a nice size for me. I like pens around 130 upwards to 140 millimeters in length. So for me, this is actually a really nice size of pen. I think let's do a weight check. So uninked, this pen comes in at 80.5 grams. That's 80.5 grams. This is a heavy pen. It's made of silver, a lot of silver. The cap itself is just under 32 grams. And then the body of the pen, uninked, we are looking at just under 49 grams. So you can see there, this is not a lightweight pen by any means. But it is, for me, a very, very comfortable pen. So in terms of the pen, you can see you have the clock here, and you have this little crown which you can change the time on. You have this sweeping clip that comes down to a roller here. The cap actually tapers into the midpoint of the section, tapers back out, and then it does a little bit strange. It tapers, drops in, and then tapers way out to here, and then back all the way into the piston filling knob. And then obviously you can see here the section. It's got a very small amount of very chunky threads which are not rough or sharp, and then you have a silver section. Now the nib itself is a number 8 size nib, so it's a large nib. It's not a number 6 size nib. But for me, I just find that this pen is very, very nice to write with. So I think with that, let's do a pen comparison. So from left to right, we have a Pelikan M1000 Radon Starlight, a Pelikan M1000 Radon Sunlight, a Visconti Homo Sapiens Corsani 90, a Visconti Homo Sapiens Corsani Octagonal, a Visconti Wall Street, a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina. In the shiny circles, we have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. We have a Visconti Divina Metropolitan in the grey. We have another Visconti Divina Metropolitan in the grey, and then a Visconti Divina Metropolitan in the green stacked celluloid. So let's do a writing sample. So we have the Montegrappa, and this is the Bartolomeo Ferracina, and it took me a while to actually work out how to spell this, and it is a medium 18 cat gold nib. Now the ink in here, I've got diamine, and it's Earl Grey. Now in terms of line variation, it is a medium nib, and it's a very smooth nib. I have to say I'm getting a medium line roughly out of this, and no hard starts or skips. If I press a little bit more, I can get a little bit more line variation. And then I can do the figure of eights, and then I can do some more line variation. So for me, I'm actually not getting any hard starts or skips on this pen whatsoever. In terms of ink wetness, it's actually quite a wet nib. It's not a fire hose nib though, but it's quite a wet nib. And for me, that is a really nice writing nib. It's a smooth nib. It doesn't, I guess it does have a slight feedback to it, but not a lot. But for me, this writes really nicely, and it was just a pen I had to add to my collection. And I'll give Emmy his just, because he did actually chase me a lot of times to try and add this to my collection, and eventually I did cave in and I did add it. However, Emmy didn't get everything he wanted. He didn't get, obviously, the Omas Arte Italiana Paragon Grande that I have, that I may still let go of at some point in time. But for me, it is a pen that I love a lot and I love writing with, and I still can't bring myself to let that pen go in my collection. Maybe one day I will do, but for now I cannot. So I'm glad that I managed to pick this pen up from Emmy. I do like this pen a lot. So I'd like to thank Emmy for selling me this pen for review and making me give him quite a chunk of money. So that's my review of the Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.